Hello everyone, welcome back to another deadline stream, game week 8 deadline stream, and we are finally back after the international break. Looking forward to it as usual. Great to see some people in here early on, and I hope you had a good 2 weeks off. It's been a hot minute. I'm a bit washed up. Hold on, let me change screens real quick. There's the team. We're looking well set up, lads, for this game week 8 deadline. I'm actually quite happy with the team. Let me change the timer real quick before anyone freaks out. 2 seconds. As usual, let me know if you can see and hear me. Much appreciated. 92. Alright, sweet, we're good to go. Who we got in here? Sully Breezy, Granato, Reese Clay as usual, Luca says Sonny in. Patrick's in here. Roger McSweeney as usual. Sam Choi, good morning. Praful, Sam Weller says, did you make any transfers? Not yet. I'm going to wait to see if we get any team news regarding Spurs. Of course, being a Spurs fan, I might know a person or two. Whether or not that means we're going to get information, I'm unsure, but I'll be sure to let you know if I do. What did you get up to with the 2 weeks off in the international break? Me personally, I was up to my eyeballs doing college work. Not ideal, but it is what it is. So yeah, I really like what's going on currently in the community. You know, right now we're seeing a lot of people have they have the time to think if they want to get rid of Saka, and now they have a big decision to make. Me personally, I will be getting rid of Saka. I think I'm 95% of the way there, and I think Big Youngmin's son is coming in. Are you selling Havertz anytime soon? Not this week. I think at some point I could, but with no Saka in my team, he'll do some sort of cover. What I'd like to say though is Havertz is going to be on penalties if Saka is out, so that would be ideal. Is Son / Solanke still a must? I already have Brennan Johnson. I don't think Son is a must at all, actually. But I do think it is a good way to differentiate yourself. You know, he's only, what, 4%? Solanke, though, I think for the price, he probably is more of a must. I really like him at his price. Again, Johnson is going to do the job, but again, I don't know if he can keep up this scoring run of 8 games in a row. I don't think that's too realistic, but let's see. Danny says, not Foden over Son. I've currently got Ederson and Lewis and Haaland, so I've already tripled up on the City boys, so I actually couldn't even do that if I wanted to, so yeah. Rukuf says, hey, help me Choi. Havertz, Rodgers, or should I transfer out Havertz plus Semenyo to Kuna and Johnson? I don't think I would do those two moves. I mean, Havertz has a decent fixture this week. He was spotted with the team in the hotel. By the way, that was some crazy stuff last night with Andy Martin. Gotta love that guy. But Havertz and Rodgers is good, man. Like, there's no issue with that at all. So I'll be comfortable playing them and rolling. Should I start Diaz? I would be inclined to get rid of Diaz. Again, that's just my own preference. That's the reason I didn't go with him on wildcard. There's just too many question marks. Of course, he got lots of minutes for Colombia, and it is a bit of a trek to come back. Is Silva overlooked? Overlooked, yes, but again, I would say probably for good reason. I just feel like there's probably some better options, and it's worth the stretch to go up to an explosive asset like Foden. Not to say he can't return though. But yeah, 2 lovely weeks off. It's mad, like my brain absolutely filtered out all the FPL information for a while, just because I was so busy with like college work. And like when you come back to it, it's like you feel like you're out of your depth. You're seeing like everyone discussing on Twitter, and it's like, oh yeah, forgot about this. Like, I think I need something like that though, because you know, us FPL guys, it's easy to get carried away with the amount of stuff that's happening on a weekly basis. like in the space of like 2 days, you know, all the stuff with Saka has you on your feet. So it was convenient time to come back though. Rodgers to Johnson or Semenyo to Mbuemo? Semenyo to Mbuemo, because that way you can keep Rodgers. And I think for 5.5, I think he is now probably some of the best value in the game still. Eddie Casey, hi Cho, would you sell Sade? He's on my bench, or rolling if everyone is fit. I'm starting Mazraoui. What do you think, Ten Hag? said he's fit after heart illness. That's a mad one. I saw that tweet. Sorry, is my mic a small bit too loud? I'll fix that. Let me know if that's a bit better. But yeah, it's mad to think that Mazraoui is potentially playing after having heart surgery. That's absolutely insane. Like, I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. I would be a bit skeptical playing him. Where are we? If you didn't have Triple City, who would you choose between Foden and Son? I think I would go Foden. Like, I look at that Southampton fixture next week, and it's just beautiful. It's the type of game you could see Foden do very, very well in. So, I think I fancy Foden, especially for, 9.2 now compared to Son's 9.8. But, again, Sonny is the penalties, so it can go either way. Gabriel Taparo? Not this week. Any news on Son and Saka starting? No, nothing that's actually relevant, I would say. If you're asking me personally, on how I see it, it's a bit easier for me because I kind of planned on getting rid of Saka anyway for Son, regardless of his fitness. Again, you're seeing a lot of the analytics guys also start to look towards Sonny. I think it's just to do with how good Spurs have been in the underlying numbers. It makes complete sense. And 3 home fixtures in the next 4, and fixtures you'd expect us to win, to be honest. So I quite like the move regardless of the fitness. And then of course Saka has some really tough fixtures coming up. I probably do still expect him to play this Bournemouth game, but again, with that minor hamstring knock, he might get subbed off early anyway. So that's where my current thought process is. Sam Weller says, good morning. I was playing a 3-5-2 format and playing Semenyo. Would you downgrade Saka or Trent to X player, then replace Semenyo to Johnson? I don't think so. I don't think I would get rid of Saka or Trent. These are 2 massive assets. You know what I mean? So, we have a 6-month channel member, Nick Zero, who says, happy month-anniversary, let's go. Absolute legend, Nick. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate you so much. And Taylor with a £5 super chat. He says, morning, mate. Got 3 free transfers and I'm tempted to do Saka and Diaz to Son and Foden. Got the exact money for it and I feel like it's faith. What do you think? Cheers. Saka and Diaz to Son and Foden. Absolutely do it. If the stomach is telling you to do it, you gotta do it. It's written in the stars. You have the perfect funds, and I just feel like Son and Foden over the next 3 or 4 weeks will make up some load of points. Again, you're in a luxury position with 3 free transfers, Taylor. So it's definitely a good spot to be. I don't know what Saka and Diaz minutes look like. Where in comparison, I'm almost sure Son and Foden will start. Again, we make our own narrative, so take that as you will. But thank you for the super chat. Welcome to the FPL Professor YouTube channel. No, this is FPL Choi, but welcome to the stream. Solanke or Watkins? For me, Solanke. It's just the price. Watkins is a good asset. He always will be over the course of a season, but at the price Solanke is coming in at, lads, 7.7, I want to say. After the 2-week international break, I'm not up to date with the prices. Arteta's positive comments honestly makes me think Saka's a real doubt. Yeah, I took that in the exact same way, and I think a lot of people are. That guy will do anything to be to put off the other team just for tactics' sake. But I respect it. It clearly works for him. Arsenal have been unbelievable this season and over the past season. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Callum Laird says, morning, Joy. Good to see you, Callum. Bench 1 out of Rodgers versus Fulham, Dibbling versus Leicester. I would be benching Rodgers just for the EO play. I really like Dibbling this week. Not a lot of people have him, and I actually loved what I seen when he played against Arsenal. What are you looking to do today, Choi? Today will... Okay, so let me bring up the transfers page. We have 4 free transfers and 1.3 million in the bank. I would say I'm going to do Saka to Sonny. That does 2 things. It gives me more funds to play around with in game week 9. Of course, I'll have 4 free transfers next week as well. And I really like it because I still have the option of doing the likes of a Semenyo to a Eze versus Tottenham if I fancy it. Alternatively, I could do a big move like drop Trent down and then Buemo up to I'm not quite sure who, but you know, you could almost stretch to a Palmer with 4 free transfers. So I think we're in a really good spot, and I like the idea of having the double City defense when no one else has them. Again, they haven't quite returned in the last few weeks, but I expect them to do quite well. Again, they're the most, they have the best probability of a clean sheet this week. Speaking of probability, let's move on to a Rob T graphic. One of the graphics I like looking at most every single week. If you don't already, give Rob T a follow. He's an absolute legend for making these on a weekly basis. They're absolute gold. But yeah, let's take a look at the graphic. So, starting off, where we like to start, Spurs predicted to score the most goals in the early kickoff. One thing I would say on that, 2 weeks off, Maddison's got a rest, Son's coming back from injury, Johnson's on fire with his 7th goal in a row, Kulusevski playing unreal for Sweden. This has an absolute stinker written all over this, the early kickoff against West Ham, our bogey team. Keep that in mind. But yeah, surely this has goals in it. You'd like to think. West Ham have been very, very poor. Like, so poor. And I just wouldn't be surprised to see some stupid stuff in this game. It is a really big game for Spurs. Not just on the sense of FPL. I feel like a lot of fans are kind of getting fed up of seeing the same stuff, doing well in games but not quite getting the results. I lean towards the side of Ange and thinking he's doing the right things. It's only a matter of time until the results come in the gap. Again, things like we seen 2 weeks ago with the Brighton stuff, it's not always going to happen, but let's see. Is Son starting? I would put my money, if you had a gun to my head and I was going to die if I was wrong, I would say Son is 95% chance to start. I would take you up on it. So Ipswich versus Everton, another great fixture, relegation scrap if you want to call it. Interesting to see Ipswich are actually predicted to score more goals. Leading the lap, quite a popular one actually. West Ham are due a good performance, says Taylor. Chewy says only 42% for City. I say only, that's actually quite high. My bad. Yeah, so double City defense for me. Obviously it looks good, but we've seen what City do in, I mean, these type of fixtures. They just somehow manage to concede. The thing stopping me from getting a Spurs asset is the early kickoff. Yeah, but you can also flip that narrative and it's like, mad things happen in the early kickoff. So it could be a 7-2 for all we know. It could be a 1-0, a 0-0. Morning Kittle in chat. Zubin is also here. He says, play Konsa versus Fulham or Ben Johnson versus Everton. I think I'll be playing Konsa versus Fulham. Our moderator George is in chat a bit late, but we are good and we are back. Welcome back, George. Everyone, if you could just hit that like button for me, be much appreciated. It gets us out there as usual. Let's see if we can get past the 150 like barrier. I'll continue answering your questions. Newcastle versus Brighton. I think this has a few more goals than the predicted models has here. I don't know why, I just have a feeling that it has at least 4 goals in it. I could be completely wrong though. Let me run my Arsenal agenda. Yeah, absolutely. Bournemouth versus Arsenal. Okay, this is where the juice is at. Arsenal always do well against Bournemouth in the back of my mind. I don't know why. Arsenal 32% chance of a clean sheet. You wouldn't be too surprised at all. It's just what they do. And I do really like that fixture for Arsenal. Again, Arsenal haven't been the greatest from an attacking point of view. For me, what I'd be hoping for is a clean sheet wipeout because I only got the single Arsenal assets. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to say it's 2-1 or 3-1 Arsenal. And Liverpool versus Chelsea on Sunday. Again, that fixture got moved. It originally was on today. 2.3 goals expected for Liverpool. Like I said in my video, this is a massive game for both teams. You know, a lot of the games for the first 14 games for those two teams were, I would say, on the easier side of the table. Big test for Chelsea especially, I would say, because Liverpool have been so good regardless. And we see if Cole Palmer can do it once again. I wonder if you own Cole Palmer in this game. Of course, you're going to be hopeful as an owner, but if you didn't own him, I wonder how you think of that fixture. For me personally, I don't love it for Palmer. It's definitely not the worst, just because he's so influential to that team. But again, don't love it. Any thoughts on this wild card? Andre Piak with the 100 ZAR. Thank you for the super chat. He says, sells Fabianski, Lewis Davis, Howard Bellis, Gabriel Aitonori, Mbeumo, Saka, Johnson, Foden, Diogo Jota, Solanke, Shueme, and Haaland. I don't know how much I love Andre about having a 4.5 striker. I would say first off. Again, you've got Fabianski and Sells, who I don't love, but they'll do. And Diogo Jota, he's been on fire. It's actually interesting to see him in the team. I know a lot of people are, not even considering him. I was always of the mindset that if he plays, he's always going to do well. He's an asset that, Liverpool's number 9 is always a phenomenal asset in the game, unless his name is Darwin Núñez. But yeah, my only issue with that is, of course, the Champions League congestion. But if you're confident of consistent Diogo Jota starts, I'm not too worried. The only thing I would say is also on wildcard, I would like to be a bit more aggressive. You have Saka. Again, maybe I actually don't mind Saka. It's just I feel like I'd be going a bit spicier with Son and Foden, just to kind of differentiate myself. And then you also have Jota, which would be a mad differential. Again, though, the team looks very, very good. Again, I think I would try and move Shueme onto maybe a Chris Wood if you can stretch it. I don't know how you would do that, but other than that, it looks great. Chewy says, the loss for Rodri for City is huge. Did some research for a trade and wouldn't be surprised to see them concede at all. Yeah, but I think it's easy to say that, Chewy, after seeing them concede in some of the easier fixtures in recent weeks. They've had 2 weeks now, and I can see some clean sheets. Again, it might be biased because I've got the double City defence, though. Before we continue on these fixtures, let me bring you back to my team, just so you have a fair idea for anyone that's just joined us. There we are. Who's better, Adama or Buonanotte for Leicester? Probably Adama, I want to say. Apologies. Would you start? Yeah, sorry. Trent and Semenyo to Porro and Foden. It's so hard to say, man. These Trent questions are just like, you wouldn't be surprised at all if he returns against Chelsea. Personally, again, you might have a different outlook to me, but I'm just not a fan of getting rid of Trent. Especially, I don't think this is the worst fixture for him. Porro and Foden, I mean, yeah, the upside for Foden is probably higher than Trent this week and next week. So I think there is an argument to do those moves, and I would personally. Again, I'm not telling you to do it. Bournemouth did really well against Chelsea. I can't see it being easy. Yeah, absolutely, Taylor. I keep sneezing, man. Apologies. Sorry, chat. It's a consistent team, my nose being at me. I know you're being aggressive with the Saka Son move, and you have free transfers, but would you be less likely to go for it if you're in the top 120k and had 2 free transfers like me? This is a great question, and thank you for asking it. For anyone that doesn't know, or we've moved on from it, which is completely understandable, this time last season we were in the top 100. I'm fairly sure it was the first week. Game week 8 was the first week I broke into the top 100. And the reason that happened was due to the absolute absurd moves we were making and just how aggressive I was being with my picks. And it was almost like everything I did turned to gold. And I think a large part of that was just because I genuinely didn't put too much thought into the moves. And sometimes if you just do it and you don't overthink and it goes your way, I have no issue playing aggressive. And if you genuinely think in your mind that Son is going to outscore Saka in the next whatever game weeks, it doesn't matter what rank you're at. I firmly believe, like, if you just continue to play that way, you know, you just keep bumping up in the ranks, and suddenly you're 120k, then you're 80k, and you're 40k, and then maybe one day you're suddenly landing in the top 10k. Like, it's just an accumulation of these aggressive moves. I don't even know if that's an aggressive move though. Like, Son as an asset has always been good, and when we look at his fixtures, like, I mean, it's a whole lot of green. These are the fixtures coming up, and like, Spurs attacking numbers are some of the best in the league, and we've the most big chances missed this season. So when you look at it that way, it's like, so Spurs' main man is coming back into the picture. He's also on penalties. I don't think I'd even deem it as an aggressive move, to be honest, at this point. But yeah, if you want to hold on to Saka, it's probably an equivalent good move. Like, you know, he's going to tick away nicely. It's just, you hope over the course of the next few weeks, Son does it, and we go back on Saka in game week 12. Kittle says, Son's great, but do you think he's worth a premium price while playing on the left? Do you think he's much better than Johnson and Maddison? Yeah, I think we get carried away about Sonny. Let's be real, over the last few seasons, Son has been our best player, other than Harry Kane, let's say. Of course, they formulated this partnership that we've not seen in the Premier League for a while, since Lampard or Drogba. Son is still our main man, whether you like it or not. He's just not shown it just yet. He is playing off the left, but if I look at some of the chances Werner has made or been involved in, I just think if that's Son, man, we're scoring 2+ goals every single game, more than we have. And again, it's just a factor of also being on penalties. I think we forget this. Of course, people are a small bit skeptical on Solanke being on them, but I've got both, so I don't even stress about it. Again, I think it's almost guaranteed Son is on him. And with the injury now, he will be... he'll want to get his name back on the tally sheet, so I would be very surprised if he's not on penalties. Diblin starts, says anachronism. I would say so. He played very well, and also he's involved in training after rumours about him missing out, but he's fine. Bone or Gordon? You know what, I actually quite like Gordon. With Isaac back now, you know, the partnership they have. Bone is not a bad shout. I just feel like Gordon probably edges it for me. Troy, what do you think about Salah and Havertz to Haaland and Adama? Yeah, now that you talk about Salah, he's not one that's being talked about at all this week. And I don't know, I feel like it's a bit disrespectful. Like, I wonder, is there any subtle armbands going on him versus Chelsea? Again, when we go back to this graphic from Rob T, Liverpool are expected 2.3 goals. It's the third highest on this list, so you just won't be surprised with 2 weeks off from Mo Salah if he goes and bangs, but definitely one to consider. Getting back to your question, Salah and Havertz to Haaland and Adama, I don't think so. Again, I know it's a bit mad because Haaland and everyone is putting the armband on him this week, but that fixture for Salah isn't the worst. Well, the one justification I make for that, bringing in Haaland and Adama, is of course the Southampton fixture next week. You probably need him for that, so maybe you're right, it is probably a better move. Will Son start, Choi? Yes, I'll be very surprised if he didn't. Bless you, my goat. Absolute legends. Sorry if I'm a bit behind in the chat, by the way. I try to get back to as many as possible. I'm after missing a few now, so I'm going to go to the most recent ones. Be sure to ask your question again. Again, I apologize. Hey, Shai, can you do score predictions? Alright, yeah, sure. Let's run through them. So Spurs, I'm going to say it's going to be 4-1 versus West Ham. Ipswich, Everton 1-1. Newcastle, Brighton 2-1. Bournemouth, Arsenal are going to get 3-1 maybe. Liverpool, Chelsea, I'm going to say 2-1 to Liverpool. Fulham, Villa, I'm going to say 2-2. I feel like Fulham have been quite good. We've seen Villa be quite blunt against United also. United, Brentford, interesting to see United actually quite high on the expected goals. And one player I was looking at was the likes of a Rashford or Garnacho, which is maybe not this week. And I did say, I feel like United will get a win. I feel like they're due a win. That's not how it works, but Brentford are good, don't get me wrong. I just think, and I wouldn't be surprised to see United win. I'm going to say 2-1 United. Southampton versus Leicester. Again, I see goals in this game. I'm going to say 2-2. Wolves versus City. I think City could put 5 past Wolves here. Like 4 or 5-0, I want to say. Again, it just comes from a place in my heart where I know City do very, very well against smaller teams. I want to say smaller teams, but you know, Wolves have been so poor this season, and they're playing like a smaller team. So my expectations for goals for City is quite high. Forest Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace sneak a win here, 2-1. You're going to hold Saka Chai? Nah, no chance. He's gone out my team in the next... How long do we have left? Hour, 7 minutes. Could be Southampton's first clean sheet this year. It could be. I'd be quite surprised though. Just due to the way that they play. You'd like to think Southampton will score a few goals in this home fixture though against Leicester. Nishal, if you could not spam the chat, be much appreciated. I completely understand. I'm sorry if I can't get back to all your questions though. However, start, yeah, he was spotted in the hotel last night, so I would say so. That front line is class shy, but the midfield is paying for it. Any plans to move funds to a 3-5-2? Yeah, it's a good point. I suppose on paper, you're right. You know, it is a bit weak. We've got a 4.5, we've got a 5.5, an injured Saka and Mbeumo, but you know, I think it makes up for it to attack. And I think with Semenyo on the bench, I also need to remember I have the 1.3 in the bank, and that could easily be the likes of a Semenyo up to who I love, which is an Eze or Garnacho in the next few weeks. So, you know what? One move I'm actually quite tempted to do, and it makes no sense. And I don't think chat's going to like it. But I was actually toying with the idea of doing this. Let me just do it in front of you so you have a better perspective. And that's doing Saka to Son, like we spoke about extensively, and I'm going to do it anyway, I would say. That gives us 1.5 in the bank. Of course, 3 free transfers. And like you said, the midfield is a bit weak, and you're completely not wrong. And one move I was looking at is just bringing in this Garnacho for this Brentford at home fixture. And that is what I call aggressive, and you know, maybe it doesn't make sense. But again, Alejandro Garnacho is another one that I look at. Me personally, he's been fairly impressive in the last few weeks for me. Yeah, sure, he hasn't returned on on many metrics, but I just feel like the turning point for United, you know, they're after keeping the manager. If it's ever going to happen, it would be now. And I know a lot of people hate the United assets, and rightly so, but look at the fixtures. You got Brentford at home, West Ham away, Chelsea at home, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, and Everton at home. Like, this is my type of pick, and usually in previous seasons it's something I do. Whether or not it's just a week too early for me, and it would mean benching Diblin this week, I don't love it. And again, it doesn't make sense, I know. Let me know what you think of that move. It's just a suggestion, if anything. Let me slot him back in there nicely, just so I can get a picture of what's going on here. Yeah, I have tied with the idea of it though. A lot of people would say also the minutes for Garnacho, but I think he's probably one of their best players on the day. United fans, let me know if I'm delusional. Is it strange that I brought in Semenyo this week as part of 2 moves for his games in a few weeks? That means you probably have the depth and the luxury to bench him, I want to hope, but nah, it's grand. Like, Semenyo is their talisman, let's be real, so I don't think he can do he could do some damage in this Villa game, like I wouldn't be surprised. As it will hold today finally, yeah, won't be surprised. Saka not starting, I don't know, I ain't got the answer, but I don't mind getting rid of him regardless. Is Foden an option with KDB now in training? I would say Foden regardless. We didn't see him at the start of the season, and him playing less than 30 games this season would be very surprising to me. I think he's getting into his flow now. Of course, playing with England as well. Morning, Shaw. I like the Garnacho shout as well. Yeah, my issue with that is I have to bench Diblin this week. And the aggressive part of my brain thinks benching Buemo, the man on penalties, for dribbling. But then I realised that Mazraoui is just after having heart surgery, and the whole back four is a bit shaky, and it's just silly. Like, again, it just comes from an aggressive part of my stomach somewhere. Lucas says, why not Rashford instead? I suppose Rashford comes in at... how much is Rashford? I think he's 6.9. Why not Rashford? Rashford is another one... I just typed in Garnacho. I'm an idiot. He's another one I did consider. I just feel like when I watch United play, Garnacho is just a bit more appealing to the eye, I want to say. You know, Rashford's looked quite flat in the last few weeks. Foden / Rashford on an alternative to Son and Garnacho, I reckon. Yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, that's the thing. So Garnacho does pass the eye test, whereas Rashford probably... I was about to say he has better numbers, but he's barely even getting minutes, so... I don't know. It's a tough call, but I think Garnacho edges it for me. Comes in at a nice price as well. Tony Fungus says, morning Choi. Busting out 2 assignments today after the stream. Yes, I need to finish up on... just clean up on my cloud report. And also start a security one. Yeah, it's not looking great. Con says, I'm going to wait for the new manager bounce before Ten Hag out. I think that is a while away now with the confirmation in the international break. Usually this is the time clubs part way with their managers. And the next window for that is probably Christmas time, I want to say. So you might be waiting a while. Sells are flecking. Sells. Torn between Salah or Saka for captaincy. I have no Haaland. If I had no Haaland and I had to choose a captain between the two of them, I personally would be leaning towards Salah just because he's so differential at this point. Morning, brother. Would you be so aggro if you were top 100k? Like I spoke about, Dan, doesn't matter what rank I'm at. If I think it's a good move, I'll do it. If I'm first in the world, I'd still be making moves like this. And I was top 10 last season, and those are the type of moves that I was making, and it's what made me stay in or around that border for nearly 30 game weeks. Liam Conley says, Havertz to Raul or Trent to Anderson to free up funds. Liam, to who? Free up funds for who though? That's the important part. On paper, obviously, is Havertz to Raul though. Luis Diaz to McNeil, good. -4 on Solanke and Bowen out. And Palmer and Kuna in game week 9. Yeah, I like that. Again, it's interesting to see people talk about moves that are next week. I don't even know what I'm doing this week, you know what I mean? What defenders are you starting? Alright, let me get back to my format of my team. There's a team. Again, it is so solid. We've seen a massive green arrow last week of 1 million places. It's quite funny seeing people on X speaking about content creators. It's like they care about my rank or other content creators' ranks more than I do. It's like, and I care about my rank a lot. And but it's lovely to see a big fat green arrow last week, and me personally, I think we could see a nice little one coming this week also. George, my moderator, says, stay away from the United lads. 1 goal at Old Trafford all season. Fair point. I can't even dispute, and I'm not trying to... I have no argument for that. Owen Lolis says, morning shy. Lewis or Mikalenko? Also, what college are you in? So I go to Setu, which is down south in Waterford, not the Carlow one. I'm currently in my 4th year of computer science. Actually, while we're on this topic, for anyone that doesn't know, or this is just a little update, I am currently making an FPL model for my final year project. For anyone that doesn't know what a final year project is, in my final year of college, I have to do a project, and I'm currently doing it on FPL. And I had the opportunity to speak to Spiros Valoumas, the Greek god who has a very good model called Copilot. Be sure to check that out. But me and him spoke for 45 minutes, and he gave me some insights on how the model works. So I know you don't deem me as such an analytical manager, but they're a part of my game that you're not familiar with. Get to know. But yeah, it's looking interesting. I started writing up exactly what I want to do with it. Anish, our channel member, says, "Hey Cho, is Richarlison going to start? Would reduce Solanke's minutes." I would say no chance Richarlison starts. Of course, he is back and he will be involved with the squad, but if he comes on, it will be for the last 5 to 10 minutes, if even. We'll be a bit skeptical even playing him, I want to say. Only because how injury prone we know he is. Play Rodgers and Mikalenko, always start the attacker in my mind. Who would you bench, Rodgers, Dibbling, or Mbuemo? I'd be inclined to bench Rodgers, I think. Bro's doxing himself? Absolutely. If you want to come dox me, come. It is what it is. Bro is baiting us to buy United asset so that he can gain ranks. I see. Lads, if you don't do any of my moves on a weekly basis, it actually brings joy to my face. I would hate if people copied what I do, because the way I play FPL is I'm against all these content creators. If I watch their content, I'm thinking, how can I get a leg up on them? When you're watching me, you should be trying to beat me rather than agree with me, I want to say. Of course, I'm friends with all the guys in the community, and although I'm friends with them, I'm trying to get a better rank than them. So it is the competitive nature of myself, I suppose. But again, it's fine if you don't agree with me. I actually love if you don't agree with me, because that way maybe I'm going to get a leg up on you, or vice versa. So it's good. It's what the game needs. If everyone just looked at it like, oh yeah, Garnacho is a great option, you know, it'd be boring, wouldn't it? And that's where we get the template from. So I try just to do what I think is good. Whether or not people agree with it or not, doesn't really bother me. Liam says, "What's going on, Choi? Finally back after the international break. Good to see you, Liam. Welcome back." I love being back, lads. It's about time. It's been 2 weeks, like. Do you think Diaz will play? Probably not. And if he does, reduce minutes. Morning mate says, Harry Miller. He says, "Can you tell me if you would start Eze, Vardy, or Rodgers?" I would 10 million % be starting Eze. He'd be priority. Next, I want to say Rodgers. Again, this is a tough call though. I'll probably bench Vardy just for the age tax. Lewis or Milenkovic? It's Lewis all day, man. Captain and Foden, he's either going to get a 1-pointer or a 15-pointer. Yeah, Foden, people that went Foden early doors maybe 2 weeks ago, I feel like I've been a bit unfortunate. He's not been great at all. But this is a nice little fixture for him. Kulisexy or Dibbling? Who should I start? Please. I mean, it's hard when you're asking me, and Spurs are predicted to score so many goals in this early kickoff. I have to say Kulisevsky. Lads, so he's been transformed. I can't keep reiterating, but he's just playing so good. And I just hope that it translates to FPL points for anyone that has went with him. Tiny Fungus says, "Like the stream if you think Choi is looking like an absolute certified munch today." You heard him, lads. Hit that like button for me. And if you have any questions, be sure to drop them in. I try to answer as many as possible. Let's do a poll. Again, this is a poll I done on Twitter. Let's do... Are you getting rid of Saka? I suppose that is the big thing this week. Hey bro, hope you're well. Of course, Mohib. Of course I'm well. I get to do FPL streams. I'm always well when that's the case. Soam, good morning, Soam. Great to see you again. You making any transfers, brother? Yeah, currently I'm planning on moving on Saka. Chewy FPL says, start one of Konsa, Robinson, or Fies. I won't be starting Fies, even though, like, Southampton in my mind are a good attacking team in this type of fixture. Again, I could be completely wrong and Leicester could get a clean sheet, but I would definitely be starting one of Konsa and Robinson, and I think Robinson probably edges it for me. Konsa, of course, only back from injury, so that's where that skepticism comes back. Let me bring chat over here so I'm not constantly looking to the side. Diaz out for whom? Or should I roll? I would be doing Diaz out personally. I don't know to who though. I can't answer that. Yeah, so Kittle, I was actually speaking to Fran. Fran is doing Saka to Son as well. You know, so 2 weeks ago, obviously Son was injured, but it was mad seeing no one speak about even the possibility of bringing in Son. To be honest, again, like I said about people doing the same moves, you know, Fran is obviously one of the smaller ones in comparison to the giants that we have in the community like Ross and Harry and Let's Talk FPL and Mate. And because I love Fran, I'm happy he's doing that move because I really, in my mind, think in the next few weeks it will make up a lot of points. And it's actually quite interesting because me and Fran and I are probably on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes of making decisions. When I say that, I mean like he's a very, very analytic backed manager. I look at our teams and we both have double City defence. We both have Tyler Dibbling. We're both doing Saka to Son and we're Solanke and Haaland lovers. So I think Fran is probably one of the best managers we have in the community, just by pure fact on how he plays the game. And when you have a manager like him making a similar move to you this week, it's always a good sign. So yeah, absolutely love Fran. Go watch him if you're not watching me. He's such a sound guy. I spoke to him a few times outside of FPL. Brennan versus Kulu versus Matters. Out for one of these, which one? I suppose it has to be Brendan Johnson, only because the areas he's picking up. I had a really nice heat map graphic from the Athletic. I don't have it though, but it just displayed some of the touches Johnson's picking up and some great areas. I just wonder how the goals or assists are going to be shared now with Son in the team. Of course, we've seen with Son out of the team, the front three looking quite well, and I think that is a large part of how Werner plays. You know, the way we set up maybe is a bit better from a defensive point of view with Werner, I want to say. Again, no chance by an offensive point of view. What is his YouTube channel called? His YouTube is FPL Fran. He's streaming right now, I'm sure of it. But yeah, he top guy, and other than top guy, an absolutely amazing FPL manager. He got top 1k last season, so be sure to check him out. Start Mavididi or Mikalenko. Again, for me, it's the attacker, Mavididi. Sharif in chat. Good morning, Chai. Who would you choose from Son and Matters? Without question, Son. Fran and you don't play template, IMO. Harry, Raptor, Focal. They usually do. Pratful, I don't agree with that. Again, I can understand. Fran, I would say, just plays differently. He's... the way I would describe Fran's playstyle is a bit similar to... Oh, there is no manager like Fran, to be honest. If you're asking me, the best analytic manager is Fran. Just how he bases his decisions based on data. Who I would say is the best planner in the community is Prass, without a doubt. The best planner. If I'm making the perfect FPL manager, I'm taking the decisions from Fran, taking the planning from Prass. If I'm choosing the manager for like everything, it's Harry. Like, Harry is probably the best manager in the last few seasons, and the ranks go to show for it. Sure, he gets lucky in some aspects, but again, that's what the game is the game is 80% luck and 20% backed off the decisions you make. Focal and Raptor, sure, their ranks haven't been the greatest in previous seasons, but Raptor is a manager who will make moves based on genuinely what he thinks, and after speaking to him, of course, on FPL Therapy, I know how he plays, and he'll always make decisions based on his own initiative. So I don't agree with the template necessarily. I look at Focal's team, he's got triple Spurs as an Arsenal fan, so I don't know. There is a FPL Dylan. Yeah, there is a FPL Dylan. He has like 20k. Tribro, are you planning on rolling your 2 free transfers to next week? No, I'm going to have 4 next week, I want to say. Choi, will you review teams? I will at the end of the stream if I don't need to fly somewhere. Is Havertz playing? I would say 100%. I think Fran and Jan Bartra are similar. Yeah, Big Gian. I don't know why I call him Jan. I actually spoke to him last week. We had a Discord and we actually recorded a video, but yeah, he's some man. I love Jean. He looks at the game a bit differently. He says some of the things I think, and he plays a similar way to how I would say I do. And by the way, I missed a super chat earlier. Someone gave me like a euro or something. That just popped into my mind. Who was it? It was VA. I don't know how I missed that, but thank you for the super chat. And we've got another one from Toy16. It's £2 super chat. Stat Robinson or Konate, Minta or Emil Smith Rowe. I would be it's a tough one. I don't know how I feel with Adingra, because Adingra is always in the picture when you speak about Minta. Minta, of course, coming up with his first goal against Spurs last week. No surprise there. I would be starting Konate personally, and I would be starting Minta. I'll be taking a risk on Minta. Again, I'm so sorry if that goes wrong, but initially when I look at that, that could go either way just due to the 2 weeks off. Of course, we seen Smith Rowe be benched last week, so make it that as you will. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. And Ajay Benning with another £2 super chat. Hey, Chai, toss on triple captaining Erling Haaland. You know, it did cross my mind, I'm not going to lie. But for me, I didn't captain him in the popular week in game week 4 when he got a hat-trick. I don't think I'm going to captain him in this first week back after the international break against Wolves. And if anything, I fancy the Southampton fixture a bit more. But for me, I want to throw the armband on someone a small bit less template. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. If you get points, you get points. You know, that's all that matters. But I lean towards, if I were to use it next week, it would be on the likes of Foden, for example. That's where my mind is. But yeah, I do really like it. Wolves have looked arse this season so far. And thank you for the super chat, Ajay. Appreciate you. Brennan to go 8-8. That would be insane. Did you see that Spurs tweet? It's like Brennan Johnson will score from the next 11 games in a row, and it's like a little Spurs character with a incense in his hands praying. Mad old tweet. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Spurs on an attacking point of view, quite strong. Let's bring up another graphic and close that poll while we're here. Let's go back to Rob T's page. Let's bring up the scores list. Again, if you don't do anything in the FPL community other than, like, for example, you don't watch any YouTubers, you make your own informed decisions based on watching the games. The one thing I would look at is maybe some of the probabilities on a weekly basis from Rob T. Again, I think it is one of the things that give you good perspective and can help you change or maybe look at some of the players in a different way. Let me scroll on Twitter, by the way, to see if we got any news. I completely forgot that existed. That will tell you how rusty I am from streaming. Brendan again, ole, ole, ole. Yeah, hopefully we see that again. Spiros seems to be locked in. He was doing Salah and Havertz, McNeil and Haaland. Interesting. Good luck, big dog. Double Everton. I don't love it. Trossard is going to play. Hopefully. Have you looked at 11-5 yet this week? No, I usually do, but because I have Rob T, you know, you can do either. Okay, so Haaland, of course, expected one big goal, and it's interesting to see my boy Solanke in second, Isaac in third, and then Son Heung-min in fourth. You know, if you had told me, this really backs what I want to do, like, so interesting to see Rasmus Højlund 7th, is it? 3, 6, 9th, sorry. Are you getting Son for Saka? Yeah, okay, I think I'm going to do that move. I wanted to wait to see if I get some early team news. Again, not to say that I have a source or anything, but just off the odd chance. I think there is a small probability that we do get some sort of team news from Paul. Again, don't quote me, but Just how I'm feeling. Absolutely. This exactly. I'm not telling you to get rid of Saka. Anyway, what was I doing? Okay, yeah. This graph. Oh, fuck. My bad. Yeah, so I really want to get in Son. I mean, clearly, the Marcus projects the Spurs boys to do well. George telling me he has noties on already. Another interesting one from this list is Gordon, and he's one that I'm actually quite high on. Again, he doesn't have the greatest of fixtures coming up, but I think Newcastle will always score against some of the bigger teams, so I think Gordon is one that's going underneath the radar. Madison to Son, I don't know if that's worth a move. Madison Johnson for just Son on wildcard, yes. Or no, I would just go Son, sorry. Hello Chai, bench 1, Raul, Rogers, Smith Rowe. That's a tough one. I think it has to, I would split my chips and go one of Raul or Smith Rowe. Sorry if that doesn't narrow it down for you. HI, toss some Palmer to phone, but 0 million cash in the bank. I would not do that. Only because you're going to want Palmer back, I want to say. Garnacho and McNeil. I would be bold and go Garnacho, man. Again, I'm just an idiot. I'm just an idiot sitting behind the camera, giving you my suggestions based on something that is just feeling. Completely understand if you disagree with that with your whole heart. Boy Lewis, Foden, Solanke from Watkins, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Is it a good idea? Yes. Let me close that poll. So 66% of people not getting rid of Saka. That's really interesting. Am I locked in? No. I was saying I prefer Madison over Son, given Son is just returned. I don't think so, Con. I don't think so. You know, Sonny doing a day in the life 2 days ago, which I thought was so unusual. You know, he might be back, you know. Son has got some of the biggest PR in terms of non-English media. I want to say, like, obviously the Koreans. And when he's doing shit like that, like, it just makes me think, like, he could be back. He could be back. What's your plan with Trent? Let's speak about Trent. Tough fixtures. You know, you could see him conceding in the next 4. But you could see him return with some sort of assist. We need to keep in mind he's only got 1 assist this season, and his returns have come from clean sheets. Of course, not ideal. But I think, you know, another goal was it in the international break. I think we're still yet to see the best of Trent. That's where my mind is going. I don't know why. This Chelsea fixture, I think it actually isn't too bad on paper. Just Brighton fixture, same on an attacking point of view. Villa high line. Big dirty Trent through ball over the top. Again, we create our own narratives, but if you're asking me, I mean, these are things you have to think about. He's a hold. He's not a get rid. He's not a buy. He's a solid hold, I want to say. By the way, one thing I completely forgot about is the mystery chip. I really wonder what it's going to be. It could be anything. Watch it just be something silly like. Morning, mate. Is Kite playing? I want to say yes. If you had a triple captain, would you do it this week? I do have triple captain. I'm not doing it this week. Or would you do it next week? Out of the weeks, I would be more inclined to do it next week for sure. Yeah, I missed the days of Son and Kane, the partnership. Well, Mochara, hope you're well. Start 2, bench 2. Dibbling, Smith Rowe, Rogers, Robinson. Currently 2nd in your league. By the way, if you're not in my league, come join it. I don't know if I can find the code here. By the way, I'm having not the best of starts. I'm 800 in my own league. So this is you, Seamus, I assume. Dalipool, yeah, that's you. Let's bring up your team while you're in chat. 49 points last week, not the greatest, but I would say looking quite well for this week. Of course, Welbeck coming in with the absolute goods for you. But yeah, what did you say? Dibbling, Smith Rowe, Rogers and Robinson. I'm 2nd in your league. I'm not going to give you advice because I'm praying for your downfall and I'm coming for number 1. Now, on a serious note, I will be starting Dibbling for sure. And I think I'll be starting Rodgers. But yeah, best of luck in my league, and I hope you don't win. By the way, there is a reward for winning my league, so be sure to join up. Start Vardy or Rodgers? Rodgers. I have Martinelli and no decent sub. Should I take a -4? No. Trent been keeping a clean sheet and has a 2.6 XA with only 1 assist. They will come. Liam, my thoughts exactly. Lucas says, hi Choi, should I do Saka to Foden? Then I could do Semenyo to Matters or Saka to Son. And would have to remove Robbo to do Semenyo or Madison switch. I only have one transfer. What would you do, please? I like the idea of doing Foden to, or Saka to Foden. Havertz plus Diaz to Son plus Wood. Chris Wood, man, he's a player I love. He's always done well when I've had him. This season I hadn't known him and he's killed it again. But I love him. And I think those moves are quite good. What does the winner get for your league? Money and something else. It's like 50 quid, and I think I'm gonna do next season's jersey. I don't know just yet though. Who to start, Lewis or Rodgers? You know what? I'd be inclined to start Lewis. Wood or Palmer? What kind of question is that, man? Mr. Feather says, Shah, I need your opinion. Pedro to Raul, so I can bench Semenyo, or Semenyo to Buonanotte to start, or roll with 3 free transfers and start Semenyo and Rodgers. Roll, my bro. Sometimes in the life it's hard to just do nothing after a 2 week. Like, I feel like a lot of these transfers coming in this week are the compound of also the boring 2 weeks off, you know. So if you don't make a move this week, it's like you don't make a move for 3 weeks. So I can understand why people are extra incentivized to maybe move on to Saka. Whereas if this was off the back of just game week 7 and we're going straight into game week 8 with like 2 or 3 days gap in between and Saka had got this injury, I think more people would be holding on to Saka, honestly, especially because we know how Arteta is. But on another note, I would not be surprised if he's benched or not in the squad. Just by how Arteta spoke, it actually quite put me off. Would you do Savio to Foden, Havertz to Raul this week? Tough one. If you think Savio plays, no, but in general, yes. I think Foden probably is the one. I'm keeping Wood until game week 12 and transferring in for João Pedro for the swing. Yeah, I love that con. We got 215 people in here. Let's do another poll. It's the obvious one, but it's important. You never know. Is it the big boy captain? I don't see many people swaying away, only due to the question marks with, of course, Saka potentially injured, Son only coming back from injury. Do we have any Saka news updates? No, not as of yet. We'll be sure to update you though. Who would you start? Rodgers, Dibbling, Mbeumo. Dibbling and Mbeumo. I'm 24th in your league, Choi. Bad gal moves. Fair play, Angel, but you won't be there for long, let me tell you something. My midfield is Rodgers, Semenyo, Eze, Palmer, Salah. I mean, it's alright. I don't know how I feel about Semenyo this week, though. Again, I won't be surprised if he comes up with something, but Arsenal is the toughest fixture. Like the stream, don't be lazy. Cheers, Con. Incognito Football, interesting name. He says Trent Alexander-Arnold to Lewis and Eze to Foden or Roll. It has to be a Roll, Incognito. Trent and Eze, for what they are this week, are quite good. Not to say Foden and Lewis won't pop off this week, but I don't know, man. It's just not worth 2 moves, personally. Will Garnacho start? I want to say yeah. Okay, let's get back on the transfers page and just start thinking while we have 33 minutes until the deadline. I'm telling you now, Son is almost locked in. I'm just waiting if we get some sort of news. Semenyo, I don't know what I want to do, lads. Can't be getting rid of Mbeumo. You just can't be getting rid of it. It's actually disrespectful to even think of it. Are you happy holding on to Havertz for this game week? Absolutely. He's on penalties if Saka doesn't play. Dibbling or McNeil? That's a flip of a coin, man. That's a tough one. Like, it probably has to be McNeil, but if you're not starting Dibbling this week, you're never going to start. Unless you're down bad, of course. Andy, no update on Saka yet. Jackson or Rodgers to start? Rodgers for me. Liverpool is only 2 goals conceded this season. I don't like that fixture for Chelsea. A little bit worried about I don't have a Spurs attacker this week. I think I'd be quite worried as well. Again, I think it's just because now we're starting to see an influx of people bringing in the Spurs guys. I think a lot of the active managers, I want to say, have Solanke. And now they have one of Brennan and are looking towards the Sun. So I can understand where that's coming from. Why don't you have Spurs though? That's what I'd ask. Again, it's easy for me. I'm a fan, so it's like a double bubble for me to own the Spurs assets and have the pain when they inevitably don't return when I'm watching them and hoping we win. But Red Devil says, good morning, Chai. Hope you're well. Hope everyone is well. Again, like I said, nice 2 weeks off to freshen the mind before we go into a nice, lovely week of fixtures. I'm looking forward to the games, though. They should be good. Usually Spurs are the last game on a Sunday, and now we're the first game on a Saturday. Let's see what happens. Quite nervous, actually. In general, West Ham are quite often our bogey team. I don't think so this season, though. You've convinced me to go to United. I don't know how I've convinced anyone to go to United. I must be very charismatic to convince other FPL managers to bring in United assets when they currently look like a bottom half team. I don't know what you're hearing from my voice to be ever convinced of a United asset. Is this your team, Chai, bringing in Son? Yeah, I'm bringing in Son. It's just whether or not I want to play Dibbling. If I want to play Dibbling or bring in the likes of Eze or Garnacho, who I'm considering. Who would you bench, says Sal Sil. He says Trent, Gabriel, Porro or Rico. By the way, 85% are captain in Haaland. If you're not on Haaland captaincy, let me know who you're going. And I assume you just don't own him. I'm worried because you do very good with Spurs assets the last FPL. Rukaf, I was a bit of an outlier. It's hard to compare what I done last season. Like, I was jammy. Let's not sugarcoat it. Whether or not I can do the same this season, I suppose that's what people want to see. They want to see me prove it. Again, it's good to keep in mind, though, I do have a 4,339 finish underneath my belt. And now, of course, last season, 1,839, being in the top 100 for 30 game weeks, which is ridiculous when I look back on it, because at this point last season, let me bring that thread up. Those are the days, man. I posted that thread in game week 12, and it's quite sad looking at my rank now in comparison, but it is what it is. Like, this is just ridiculous. But yeah, that got the ball rolling for me in terms of a content thing. And here I am sitting in front of you, chatting waffle about past tense stuff, and you guys like to listen to me. So again, that's why I appreciate you all. You're after giving me a platform. I know I speak about it on a weekly basis, but it doesn't go unnoticed, and I appreciate you for joining me. Again, what I find most interesting about me doing this is that, like, you come here listening to me, 250 of ye, rather than going to the big boys who you know are probably more reliable than me. But yeah, it's cool. The Sun Star, I want to say yes still. Chai, don't Spurs always struggle in these North London derbies though, mate? Yes, we do, Dylan. This is true, and it's also the early kickoff after a 2-week international break. This has a 1-0 written all over it, but if we're trying to look at it from a non-Gandhi perspective, let me put it that way, I would say on paper Spurs should net 2 or 3 past West Ham if I'm being deadly serious. But yeah, if you believe in Fugazi stuff, like those metrics, which I definitely do, you're probably right. Prediction for the Spurs game, Troy, 3-1 or 4-1? Don't move for Son. Bone will smash it. I hope he does, if you have him. Who should I start? Rodgers or Dibbling? Rodgers or Dibbling? I think I would be starting Dibbling. Again, it is a tough one. Only because the risk, not the Gandhi jokes. The Gandhi jokes are not even jokes anymore, man. They come into tuition. So I also think there's the inverse Gandhi effect, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes it can be like a massive score, and then it's like no one posts about the Gandhi, but it's also the Gandhi effect. Or it can be like something absolutely crap. Everyone captains Son and he blanks, for example. Would you start Rodgers or Emile Smith-Rowe? I would be starting Rodgers. Palmer for Saka. What? By the way, for anyone that is curious or for what I think about this, I don't think that is Saka. FPL Twitter, my favourite bunch of lunatics, Will and E. Big up Will and E, man. I grew up watching that guy. Crazy. Andy Martin, man. What an absolute legend, by the way. He's an all-time GOAT in the community. For anyone that doesn't know, again, I'm sure you've listened to some sort of content creator. If not, you've seen it yourself. But this picture was taken from FPL Tommy Gunn, and someone measured the height, and Andy Martin ended up standing beside it, and he's 6 foot and Saka's 5'10" or something. So yeah, I think it's Shuri and Timber. Again, just me. Arteta asked Saka to wear his New Balances. Brilliant. That's so good. That's Saka with the Michael Jackson surgery. Yeah. Who would you bench? Trent, Gabriel, Porro, or Rico Lewis? I would just be benching Gabriel or Porro. Again, I can't give you a solid answer because I'm unsure. Chewy FPL says the Will and E tweet days were always legendary. Yeah, he was one of the OGs of just absolute comedy. Choi, do you think Raul will start for Fulham? I want to say yes. Again, he is Asian, but he seems to be Asian like fine wine. Crazy assist against City, by the way. Probably one of the best of the season. Also start Aina Greaves. Aina. I think Nuno's teams, you could always back them coming up with clean sheets in games that you won't expect them. Nuno's teams have always done well against the bigger sides, and I think we just haven't seen it yet. But for me, probably Aina. Diaz to Son, yeah, if you can stretch it in one move, I mean, absolutely. Okay, enough of the chatter. Let's do some moves. So, I'm going to lock in this Saka move. I just think, I don't care anymore. It is what it is. I know some people have already made this move. Your optimal managers will wait. I just don't see a world in which Son doesn't start. So, Saka to Son. Confirmed transfer. Now, let's take a look at the team with Sonny in it. A lovely... It makes it look so much better because... the white shirts instead of the red ones. No, but in all seriousness, I do love it. Again, it's not a move for just this week, for anyone wondering. And again, I'm not trying to convince you to bring in Son. You might look at it as some bias from me, and that's completely fine. But it's just 3 lovely home fixtures in the next 4. And again, even if you consider the City one, we are their bogey team. When I look at the games in for what they are, you probably expect us to do quite well at Sellers Park also and West Ham. Villa, they play with such a high line, and Son is one of the best in those positions at time in his run and getting in behind. Again, you can create your own narrative. Ipswich at home, captaincy shout. City away, Son has always had a good record against City, except that one time where if he scored, Arsenal would have won the league. But we don't talk about that. I'm not going to say it was purposeful. One thing to keep in mind. Bournemouth away, Fulham at home, lovely fixtures. Chelsea at home, not the greatest, of course. I think there is a small bit of extra oomph going to be in that fixture. I would love to go to that game. I think particularly because what we've seen last season, and of course always a big derby regardless. Then Southampton away, so lovely fixtures for Sonny. I'm happy to bring him in. That's me locked in with that move anyway. Another thing on my mind is whether or not I want to bench Dibbling with Leicester at home. He's predicted to get around... He has an EV of about 4, for anyone that doesn't know. Some of the models predict him to do quite well this week. And he's also a player that no one owns. But another player that a lot of people don't own and on a graph are projected to do quite well are United. I would love to bring in a Garnacho. That's where my head is. I have 25 minutes to decide. By the way, has anyone made some early moves? Have you brought in Son? Are you locked in? Are you unsure? be sure to add some questions into the chat. Try to get back to as many as possible. I'm on wildcard, says Arnold. He says Solanke, Madison, or Son, Kuna. I don't know what that means, but the answer is Son, Solanke. Choi, who is your second favourite Premier League team? Crystal Palace. Tough Boxing Day fixture for Spurs. Winky face, says Andy. And I see a little Nottingham Forest flag in that in that comment. Starting Ye or Semenyo? Probably NDA. What do you think about Saka to Foden? I would be doing Saka to Foden if I could get to triple, or if I didn't already have triple City. Franic says Choi. Hi. Jacob says morning from New Orleans. Start Hutchinson or Moreno? Hello from Ireland. Hutchinson or Moreno? I can't say I've been asked this before. I want to say Moreno. Thank you for joining me, by the way. It's crazy you're from New Orleans. Welcome to the stream. How do you feel about Porro in terms of offensive threat? I don't think much changed for Porro. I suppose he's been a bit underwhelming in recent weeks. I just think there is this element of being involved in the national team. And he's a player who I think plays well based on confidence. When he's on his game, he's taking shots from anywhere and everywhere. He's picking up good positions. Again, with Son back in the team, how does his role look? And with Porro on really good form, I would say his attacking side of things has probably been a small bit diminished. Again, I don't know why, and I wonder, will there be a bit more of trying to be a bit more solid with what we've seen from Ange in recent weeks, being a bit brittle in the defensive point of view. You can imagine he's hammered home some of the poor defending to the guys, and will they have it in the back of their mind to be a bit more wary? That's one thing, but again, I still feel with the fixtures coming up, he's a good asset. Again, he comes in at a different price in comparison to the City guys and, of course, some of the Arsenal assets. Would you do Savio to Johnson? If you're confident of a Savio start, I wouldn't. Should I start for Bergen or Flecken this week? Brighton. Who are they playing? Why can't I think? Brighton are playing... Oh yeah, that's a tough game. I would definitely be starting Flecken. Again, it is a tough fixture, and I expect both of them to concede, but who do I see making more saves? Probably Flecken. Start Wood or Rodgers? Wood. Penalties. Morgan Gibbs White is out. Keep Saka or. It's the or for me. Whether or not, I don't know who you bring in, but... Keith Longe says Milenkovic or Semenyo. Dylan, I don't know who Dylan is as for a sub. Forest clean sheet odds are 14%. Better than Semenyo's 20% chance of a goal. That's actually mad when you say it like that. I would always be starting or prioritising the attacker. Is Kulu pretty nailed? Pretty nailed. I would say he's 100% nailed. He's currently the engine in this Spurs team. I keep saying it, but Van de Ven or Lewis. I have Guardiola starting too. Lewis, double up on the City guys. The clean sheet aspect for City this week is just too high for me. Solange C, thumbs up emoji. Yes. Yes. Hi mate, Mikalenko or Gehi? Yeah, no, it's nice seeing Mikalenko come back into the picture. Of course, what is it now? 4.2 or 4.3 million. He's a lovely Ipswich away fixture. I'm sure somewhere during the week I kind of looked at starting Mikalenko instead of Saliba, but again, I got back down to earth and realised it is a bit silly. Soam says, Shy, what's up, Soam? What are your thoughts on goalkeeper transfers? You're a rich and luxurious man if you can do a keeper transfer with nothing else. Again, I always lean towards rolling, unless you see some upside for a keeper. Saka to Son or Semenyo to Johnson? Saka to Son for me. Start Fraser Dibbling. Always Dibbling, man. Dibbling all day. And that goes for any Dibbling debate. Start Rodgers or Rule? Again, that's a flip of a coin. For me, Rodgers probably for the minutes. Good luck to make chess quickies. Thank you. Keith says, Dylan is your first name, isn't it? And Choi is your stage name. Stage name. No one's ever said that to me. It's quite interesting. Oscar, FPL Focal, and Ross, FPL Raptor, they genuinely thought my name was Choi. And again, obviously my appearance plays into that, but Choi is my second name. Now you know, for anyone that doesn't. Choi is my second name, and I use it as an FPL name. I just feel like it's quite nice. Bro is doxing himself already. Yeah. Yes. Garnacho or Johnson? Johnson. Is it Johnson? No, not worth the move. Dibbling or Diaz? I mean, if you have Diaz, you have to start him. I would probably prioritize trying to get rid of him, but Choi is the manager name, absolutely. Choi is my persona when we're sitting in front of a camera. How did people not know that though? That's crazy. Gabriel or Man United defender? Come on now, Gabriel. Let's not get ridiculous. FPL doxed. Choi means T. Choi does mean T. Have the money to do Robertson to Gabriel, but already have 3 Arsenal players. Is it worth spending 2 transfers thinking of Havertz, Kuna next week to allow the move? No, it's probably worth holding on to Robertson for this week. Choi, Brennan and Saka or Son and Rodgers? Son and Rodgers. Only for the immediate though. Like, you're going to want Saka back at some point. I'm more than happy to just bring him back in. Greetings from Shannon, County Clare, Ireland. McNeil in for Nkunku. Owen O'Higgins. I actually worked in Shannon for 9 months for Intel. Of course, that place is currently going down under, but we won't speak about that. But yeah, Shannon is an interesting spot. It's a fairly small little place. And I enjoyed my time there. McNeil for Nkunku. To speak about Nkunku is crazy talk, but if you think he's getting starts, I think he is a good option. Making the name last, put that on your last name. Making the name last, put that on your last name. Chidlin. Yeah, sure. CHAI was already here. Yeah, so Lewis Hamilton, that's something that when I make my model, I was planning about calling it. Who can I replace Mavididi with? Rodgers, if you don't already have him. Best captaincy option other than Haaland. Got Son, Foden, Salah, and Solanke. When you say it like that, like it's like, that is beautiful. Who's the best out of the bunch? One of Son, Foden, Salah. Assuming you brought in Sonny this week and he gets to start, I mean, it's probably Foden, let's be real. I would rank it Foden, Salah, Son. Only because if Son is going to get benched, yeah, if Son is going to get, what am I trying to say? Son is not guaranteed 90 minutes, put it that way. Sorry. Any leaks says Biplov? No, not yet. Yo, Shai, are you starting Havertz? Yes. Okay, 15 minutes left before the deadline. Let's do a cheeky scroll on Twitter. Then we'll get back to what I'm doing with some of my moves. Whether or not if I want to bring in a United asset or just start dibbling. I think the play is to just start dibbling. Let me reiterate on Garnacho's minutes. That's the one thing. Alright, first of all, let me look at who I'm getting rid of, which is Semenyo. Terrible fixtures. Brentford, Brighton. It actually doesn't get much brighter. No issue getting rid of Semenyo. For Garnizzi, what we got, Garnacho? Let's see. Dabbling and dibbling, absolutely. Minutes played, 90, 90, 90. 2 weeks off international break. Did Garnacho go on the international break? How do people be like milking tweets like this? That's crazy. Like, for anyone that can't see, it's like if Garnacho scores tomorrow, I'll give the next person who likes this £15. It's like, that's crazy. Garnacho's a terrible shout. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know if Garnacho actually perfect. Leo Messi. Okay. Maybe I'm tripping. Diaz out, Brendan Johnson in. Sure. I don't mind that. No, he didn't, says Ochia. George, will you let me know if Garnacho travelled to Argentina, please? Very sure he had a little bit of a knock. A triple Spurs attack in the early kickoff. Brilliant. How Spurs triple have got me feeling, man. Best of luck at Choi. I'm locked in, says Som. Andy says, you think he'll make any more transfers, Choi? I'm not convinced. My heart wants me to, but again, maybe I'm just bored. Like, I don't think it's a bad move. It's just whether or not it's worth a free transfer. Like, I weigh up playing Dibbling this week. Okay, it's fine. But then I look at next week and it's like Garnacho also has a good fixture next week. And you want to be on these type of players before they start returning. You know, it's easy now and call a player, an asset like him shit, but you want to get the players before they start going through patches of form. How does the team look for next week? Let me go on FPL team. By the way, if you don't use FPL team, I don't know how you play FPL. So what I use to plan. So I've done Saka to Son. Opened up 1.5. Next week, like if I don't bring in Garnacho, I play Semenyo versus Villa, or I play Garnacho versus West Ham, is it? Let me go back. Let's say interior, I bring in Garnacho. Brentford at home. Next week, West Ham away. The following week, Chelsea at home. Dibbling's got Everton. I bench Rodgers for top spur. Make it that as you will. We've got 4 free transfers. I mean, maybe it's just a bit of a luxury thing to do. Rashford would be a better player. Garnacho's only really good off the bench. Smith, I don't agree with that. I watched Garnacho versus Spurs and he was ripping Porro apart. It's the only player that looked like he was making something. And I really feel like it is an eye test type thing. Again, eye test doesn't equate to FPL points, but you know, hit the post also. FPL era in chat, you're not streaming? Good to see you, man. First time I've seen you in chat. Hope you're well. If you're wondering where I'm at, currently we're clueless. I'm just after bringing in Hyungmin Sun 7. Wi-Fi issues from myself, so had to call off the stream. Sorry to hear, but glad you're joining me. Another Irish brother. It's great to see, you know, the Irish guys continuing to stream continuously. I don't know if that makes sense, but it happens. I know you're fairly active as well, so Wi-Fi issues are bound to happen. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Hello, Chai. Boy, Son or Palmer for Saka? I would say Sonny. Again, it's just the price point. When you're looking at these assets, I think one thing we don't consider is we put Foden, Son, Saka in the same bracket. But when we look at the price discrepancy between them, you know, there's like a 1 million change in price from Son and Palmer. There's like 1.5-ish million between Foden and Palmer. So when you compare that to some of the other assets, that's the difference between like an Mbeumo and who's a 6 million asset? Maybe that's a bad example. Where am I? An Mbeumo, a Rodgers to Dibbling, like. So, you know, it is a big step up, and I don't look at him like that. It's just what else could you do with that 1 million if you go to a Sonny who saves you that money if you don't go Palmer? Again, these are the things, right, that will set you up for the following weeks. If you suddenly have a million elsewhere to do a luxury move in the next week, I mean, probably sets you up a bit better. Foden or Choi? Luis Diaz or Maddison? I mean, this week I would say Maddison, and again, I'm just a bit skeptical on Luis Diaz, even if he does start. Is Saka fit? If you're asking me now, I expect him to start. Take it with a grain of salt, though. I wouldn't be trusting me. What do I know? Eze for Gordon or Mbeumo? Or keep Eze? Keep Eze all day. I'm on the keep Eze side. For anyone that's just joining us, welcome to the stream. It's been a long while with the international break. 300 people in here. If you hit that like button, be much appreciated. A big fat green arrow for me last week. I keep saying it, but buzzing. I know I'm only at 2 million, but it's onwards and upwards from here. Look at the team. Trust the process. Isn't that what they say? Would you get BJ for McNeil? I already got Son and Solanke. No, I wouldn't triple up on the attack. Wait, you already are tripling up on the attack. I wouldn't be moving Brendan Johnson out, I don't think. It's quite interesting, like, for me, I know a lot of people get bunged up about the rank, and I was one of them near the start of the game. But now, as the weeks go on, I feel like I'm happy with the decisions I'm making on a weekly basis, so fuck it, it is what it is. Like, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Majority of the time, if you make a lot of good moves over a season, it will be good. Can you show how much money in the bank? Sure, 1.5. 3 free transfers. Semenyo or McNeil? This week, McNeil. Next week, McNeil. The week after, McNeil. Is Semenyo to Johnson good? It's good, but I would just say maybe the hype around Johnson needs to be a small bit altered. That's all I'd say. Son or Saka? I've gone with Son. Saka to Foden or Son? Again, there's a 0.6 in the difference between Foden and Son. Keep that in mind. As an asset, probably Son is better over the next 5, but again, you'll be catching Foden for this week and the fixture next week, so that fixture alone next week almost makes up the gap for the fixtures, I would say, so it really is a tough call. Do you think Mikalenko will start? I would say so. Back in training. Jota or Mbeumo? This week, if you're asking me this week, I would say Jota to Slaughter. Frenek says, hey Chai, please start one of Pau Torres, Fulham, Munoz, Nottingham Forest. I don't know what the story is with Munoz. I feel like if he's going to play, he doesn't come off the bench, so I would just start Munoz. Nick, our channel member, says start Diblin or Calvert-Lewin and Gabriel. Why'd you say his full name? Please give me your opinion. I'll be starting Diblin, man. Ooh, would I be starting Diblin with Everton, with Ipswich? I would be starting Diblin. See what happens. Morning, Shy. Good luck this game week. Irish flag, says John Hayes. Rolo BS says up the Irish. Up the Irish. Come on. Koi Big. Salah and Diaz says Son and Palmer. Yes, 2 great moves. Who scores the most points between Solanke and Son today? Sonny. I mean, a penalty is coming for Spurs. We barely get them. We got 2 all of last season, I want to say. And I think a penalty is coming in this West Ham fixture. Again, you can't predict things like this. I'm chatting out my hole. But if you're to ask me now what's going to happen in the game, I'm going to say 3-1 or 4-1 Spurs and we get a penalty. Ederson is useless. He never keeps a clean sheet. Alright, but look at it in this vein. Ederson was useless. He might keep some clean sheets going forward. Palmer or Foden? Palmer, I mean, again, you can't really compare those 2 assets though. Why sell Saka? What's your big reason? I was going to sell him regardless of any injury news, to be honest. I spoke about it quite a bit before the whole skepticism. But yeah, I just think the fixtures for Sonny, 3 home fixtures in the next 4. Again, people forget how good he is for Tottenham, and now we're racking up some really decent numbers. Why not? Why not? There's no big reason though. Start Mikalenko or Collins? I'd be starting Mikalenko. Foden and Dimbling in for Diaz and Semenyo. I have Saka. Yes. Would you start Diblin or Rodgers? Dibbling as an EO play. Trying to get a bit of variance. Okay, so 4 minutes until the deadline. I completely forgot. I don't think I'm going to bring in Garnacho. But when he inevitably returns because I haven't brought him in, at me on Twitter with the goal and put me out of my misery. I'm very happy with the team. I just can't be benching Dibbling this week. Due to the fact, like, obviously he's such a big differential and it is a nice fixture for him. Who I considered benching, again, it's not rational. It's probably a Rodgers for Garnacho. But again, it's just like everyone owns Rodgers. I don't... You know what? Who has Rodgers got in the following fixtures? Fulham, Bournemouth, Spurs. Benchable. Not so benchable. Argument to be had. Benchable. Can't be benching. Big Duran is slowly coming into the picture. 2 minutes 50 seconds to decide if I want to bring in Garnacho and start him instead of Rodgers this week. FPL Discomfort, I miss you too, man. Good to see you. Welcome back to another FPL Choice stream. It's great to be back. Love you all. You know you need to win. There we go. Locked in. Just like that. If you like the stream, be sure to hit that like button. Make sure you click that confirm button to save your team. Hopefully we see some green arrows. A bit of a bold move going on here. And let's see if it messes up. You know, look, I've always been the type of manager to go with what I think. And I will never change. I will never change. Maybe benching Rodgers is a mistake. But look, this is how we can see some big fat greens going without the likes of a Saka, moving on some of the assets like Semenyo, who's done quite well in the past. And Choi, do you know he got a knock with Argentina? I do. I know he didn't go. Again, it mightn't work out. Well, let's see. Let me know what you think about that. So there's me. What a stream it's been. It's good to be back. It is good to be back. And I don't know what I've done. Joy, what have you done? I love this game. Nah, so again, when I look at my team, I don't think it's on the popular side. And I think this is the type of week where I'm either going to be 4 millionth game week rank, or top 10k game week rank. You know, Dibbling, Garnacho, double City defense, Youngmin 7. Let's see what happens. I just realized you're not wearing the FPL Chai hoodie. Tiny Fungus, that hoodie nearly killed me the other day, so I said I'd give it a break. Garnacho won't start. Let's see. I think actually, let's just see what happens. If it don't work out, it don't work out. It is what it is. I hope you enjoyed the stream, everyone. For anyone that wants to stick around, I will be waiting for team news in the Spurs game. Be sure to leave a like if you are leaving. Again, I appreciate all you joining me on a Saturday morning. I can't stress to you how much it's great to be back. Let me do a little quick Twitter post before we move on. Screenshot to team, says Liam. Absolutely, you know. I don't think Twitter is going to like this, but it don't really matter. They're going to like it when they see a big fat Garnizzi haul. Great to be back. Let's do the transfers first. We are currently, where are we, chat? 2 million in the world. Why is there a bracket? I brought in Garnacho. Pray for me. You poor soul. I don't know how, like... Garnacho, after the international break, has always been slow. Well, that's the thing. He didn't go because apparently he had a knock. Again, it's just a feeling thing, lads. I'm the least rational manager you'll ever see on here. And that's the issue with me. That's why I'll never be an elite manager. I'll always either be in the top 10k or 100k. There's no in between. What else did I do? I brought in Sonny for Saka. And Semenyo to Garnacho. Who we got captain? Big Brout. Not giving me the robot emoji. I'm not even gonna put in who I captain because no one cares. Great to be back. I'm just gonna be subtle about it and just see if people notice that I've brought in Garnacho. Great to be back and best of luck this game week. Let me see some of your teams if you're still in here below. We'll review them on stream while we wait for team news. No. Let's see some teams below. Watch, Garnacho's gonna be benched, but sometimes in life, it is what it is. Good luck, choice, says George. Best of luck, chat. Where are we? How are we? What's their plan with Saka? Sold. Did Rodgers to one not? Yeah. Watch, 4 million rank coming next week. Saka the Sun. FPL Fran is locked in. The last sentence is so template. You think it's template, but you know, there's still 150 people in here, and I actually just see some of your teams in on stream. So I mean, sure it's template, but we look at some of the other guys in the community. I don't see it here. I don't see it here. I don't see it here. I don't know. I'm dreading Foden bagging points this game week. Yeah, me too. I would have liked him to get in Foden, to be honest. But again, we got this man. Young Min 7. It's quite funny when... This is completely off topic, but... Like, younger kids, right? Obviously, I don't look like Son. But the first person they'll call me is Son, because obviously he's the biggest figure in the Asian community. But it's not even an insult, because, you know, that guy's the GOAT. Spurs play first, so you get the sadness out of the way early. Yeah, you're right, Jonathan Shirley. Usually it's the last game on a Sunday where I feel all the pain, but this time, no. Where are we? Liam, of course, is in here. He's locked in. This is me, Chai. Good luck. Martinez is an interesting keeper shout. I actually don't mind it, though. Tyler dibbling in, of course. Holding on to Saka. Very good. Kyle, what we got? Mavididi, Son. Double Arsenal defense. Delap. Watkins. Interesting. See, this is what I like. You know, we're not seeing a lot of the same teams, I don't think. For example, I've got double City defense. You've got double Arsenal. I've now got Garnacho. You've got Mavididi. Done Diaz and Havertz to Son and plus Wood. Strong moves again. Double Spurs up. He did not bring in Garnacho. Did not dare Garnacho. Done the Kulusevski punt instead. Understandable, Eric. I like it. Good luck, Chai. Garnacho haul incoming for you. What were you thinking of this team? Triple City, solid. Chris Wood, Son Heung-min. Can't go wrong, like, it's foolproof. Raul. You're close, almost the right Raul, but again, solid team. Mazraoui, though, I don't like Mazraoui. Other than that, though, it's good. Of course, you got the big boy premiums and Salah and Palmer and Haaland, so can't go too wrong. What time is it? We get team news at 11:15, right? How am I this rusty? Need to blow my nose. Apologies. To the 150 in here. What did you get up to over the international break? Enlighten me. I done a whole lot of nothing other than college stuff, to be honest. But I'm intrigued. Did anyone go on holidays? Do anything interesting? Let's see what Twitter's doing, will we? While we're waiting. Harry's locked in. Harry went. He kept Saka. Can't dispute that. Would you stop it, Alex Follow? Not falling for that. Brandon's locked in. Saka and Saliba to Son and Pedro Porro. getting rid of both of the Arsenal assets. Interesting. I don't know if I agree with that. So Frazier predicts no Garnacho. Interesting. Maybe I did make a mistake. Let's see. It's too early. Kept Saka and Havertz. I'm so cooked. Saka to Son. I think Saka plays, but does maintain the Spurs midfield. SPERM. Big man Bakar has gone Saka to Son. Triple Spurs in the early kickoff. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? That's why he's the GOAT. By the way, we've not seen any comments in chat. I don't know if it's not loading for me or there's actually just no comments, which is fair. If you're sitting here listening to me, fair enough. Try to find something interesting on the timeline. Maybe my chat just isn't loading. Hold on. FPL Choi. Why are you on speed, Choi? Keeps me going at the start of the streams, you know. I need a little kick. Can you blame me, like? Saturday morning. Osama's locked in. Diaz to brutal Fernandez. And Saka to Son. Oh my god. Team news coming up. Not sure Jed will be in the squad, having picked up something in training. Fully expecting Sonny to be straight back in. Well, there you go. That's what I needed to hear. Combat Planet says, yo, having 3 Spurs attack for the early kickoff. Scary times. Son needs a generational hat-trick. Saka to Son. Army, let's get it, yeah. I think there would be a lot of managers that have done that move. In your opinion, says Rukov, why everyone not hype on Porro? What's there to hype though? We're fairly average defensively. Don't get me wrong, he's picking up a lot of shots and getting into good positions, but you can understand for that price, you want to be picking players who probably are more on a team that have good clean sheets rather than relying on the attacking options. You know, if you're to look at other assets like Leif Davies, who comes in at a cheaper price, he's picking up some really, really good numbers and often quite good for bonus for Ipswich. Can Brennan Johnson get to a high enough level like Salah in the next few years? Henry, no. The answer is blatantly no. Like, when we speak about Salah, he's in the all-time Premier League team. Do I ever see Brennan Johnson being one of them? No. But do I think he can be a very, very good player? And do you have a good career at Tottenham? Yes. 100%. 100%. And really loves him. FPL managers in recent weeks loves him. He can be a good player. Salah levels, no. Who do I want to compare? Who do I want to compare him to when I speak about like wingers in the league? Worse than Mane, 100%. I don't think he'll ever reach the levels of Mane. Of course, Mane was unbelievable, but who's an asset like Brennan Johnson? Maybe a good Rashford. I wonder, could he get to that type of level? Jacob says, the best SpongeBob episode for me is the SpongeBob and Patrick steal a balloon on National Free Balloon Day and go on the run. That one's quite good. Is that the one where they go? No, for me, it gotta be that episode where SpongeBob and Patrick are jacked. Yeah, that episode, if you know the one I'm talking about. Negative for Porro is Maddison being on set pieces. Yeah, this is true. This is true. It definitely hinders a bit of Porro's XA. Hope people don't turn on Johnson once he blanks and be toxic towards him. Yeah, that's why I keep saying it's good to keep in mind, like, you need to hinder your expectations for Johnson, I would say. Salah done terrible in the Prem with Chelsea. Never say never. Yeah, this is true. But Johnson is a different type of player. You know, Salah is very direct. We haven't yet seen what type of winger Johnson is. He's more of a currently playing in the system where trying to beat his man and whip in a low and hard ball. But when we start seeing him take on defenders and beat him, and then be one-on-one the keeper, you know, that's what the likes of Salah, Hazard, some of the best players we've seen in the league, Ronaldo, do. Again, I'm not comparing Johnson to these guys, but what I'm saying is that's what's missing if he ever were to get to that type of level. I do think it's a confidence thing. I think he has bags of ability though. End up Saka to Son move. 2 free transfers still next week at least. Nicely. Okay, so let's see how my team is lining up for next week. I brought in Alejandro Garnacho. Again, it could have been a mistake, but that's what we done. It's just a feeling. He's one I was looking at for a while. Game week 9, we've 3 free transfers and 0.9 in the bank. Do I get rid of Havertz? Like, who even is there? Who's got good fixtures? Everton, of course. DCL, we could catch him for that. Southampton in 10. Fulham, Raul. I already got Solanke. Chris Wood with Leicester. Could be Acuna with this run though. Like, that looks quite good. Then of course we got double City defense for the 2 home fixtures. Again, I also could use that 2.6 million to upgrade someone up into someone juicier. But I think it looks good. Rukov says, really like joining your streams, Shy. It's just you who did answer the almost all of our questions. Good luck, bro. Thank you, Rukov. Appreciate it. I try my best to get back to all of them. Shaqiri off the bench vibes? Absolutely. The one with the inflatable arms? Yes. Garnacho thinks he's the second Ronaldo. Third, including Fat Ronaldo. That's a good point. Team news any moment now. And then we will call it there. I want Kuna in a week or 2. Yeah. I think Wolves can't be any worse than they've been. Signed a new contract and immediately got injured. Tottenham are so back. Wildcard for FPL Spaceman. Triple Spurs on wildcard. Mbuemo, Bruno, Wood. I hate when people that are not Spurs fans become Spurs fans because they own FPL assets. You're just inevitably going to be hurt. It's like constantly going back to an ex, like. Best of luck if you haven't. Really disappointed in the FPL community this week. No one has done the post to say Timo Werner is in the Spurs graphic. That's a good point. Hope Spurs front three have a party tonight. Is it a party or is it tonight where you are? It's 12:30, which is in an hour and 15 where I am. Late joining says Gary, always in here, Gary. You, were there any leaks before the deadline? No, not in solid. All right, mate. All right, mate. Hibbo's locked in. Solid team from Hibbo. Gary, there was nothing, but a lot of people in the community seem to have gone from a Saka to a Foden or a Saka to a Son. A lot of people actually also held on to Saka, so I think that type of discrepancy is going to be interesting this week. It's good to see, though. 6:15 in Hong Kong. That's crazy. What day is it in Hong Kong? I assume it's also Saturday. Team Werner needs to go. He's wank. Agreed. I mean, 7:30 Spurs kickoff for me? What? It's 4 p.m. here. That is mad. I'm interested. Are you going to watch the game? Or is that not something that interests you? Understand if it doesn't. Like, it's tough to watch teams you don't support. Saturday night, that makes sense. Alright. What are we saying? Where's the team news? We're a bit late, are we? Match day mode. Let's have a look who's in this. Richie's back in the squad, it looks like. Big Pat Matasar. The boys are dressed up. 10:30 p.m. kickoff Aussie time. Yeah, Sonny's back, ladies and gentlemen. He is back. Let's do a little breakdown. What we got? So Richarlison, who is probably back in the squad. We got the two boys looking handsome. Timo Werner, if anyone's got him. Son starts, does he? There you go. There you go. Vicario, Pedro Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Destiny Udogie, Basuma, Madison, Kulusevski, Johnson, Solanke, and Son. Please tell me Bentancur is on the bench. Bentancur is on the bench. I don't know why he's not starting. I would say though, Basuma, I really like Basuma this week. It's actually interesting that he's been benched in the last few games. But yeah, this is arguably our strongest team. This is our strongest team. I don't think there's any changes I would make. Let me see how West Ham are lining up. See stylistically how it looks. Ariola, Wan-Bissaka, Tadibo, Kilman, Emerson, Rodriguez, Soicek, Paqueta, Kudus, Bone, Antonio. So this is one thing I forgot to mention, and it's that the spider Wan-Bissaka is marking Sonny, now that I think of it. Never ideal. Maybe that will open up some space for some other attackers like the likes of a Solanke. Let's see. Could you see Madison blanking at all? Yes, I could definitely see Madison blanking, 100%. Wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I think it's important. Okay, so Madison's role since joining Spurs to traditionally what he was he was a number 10, an out-and-out number 10 before joining Spurs. Joining Spurs, Ange always said his best position was 8 or 6. And then in recent weeks, we're starting to see him pick up positions more on the left-hand side to try to utilise Werner getting behind. But now it's a home game with a 2-week international break. Of course, Madison wasn't involved in the England squad, so I just wonder if he's going to play a bit more of an advanced role today, due to it being at home, a lot of expectation in the stadium. I can imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like. You want to start the game strong, and we quite often do. What could be trouble for Spurs? I think Kudus, he's very powerful. I think Udogie and Porro, let's be real. If Spurs are going to concede, the ball is going to come from either flank, a ball in behind Porro or Udogie, and if Romero or VDV can't sweep up, there's often quite a lot of space through the centre. And Bone and Kudus can cause some issues, especially with the pass of a Paqueta. Other than that, I would say I'd be quite confident in not a clean sheet, but to control the game and, manage the game quite well. I would like to think, again, that is a hopeful fan perspective. Again, West Ham have quite often been our bogey team, and it is the early kickoff, but let's see. I'm going to say 3-1 Spurs. So, we are going to wrap it up there. Again, thank you for the 130 that are still in here. I don't know how many likes we have on this video. It really helps get the streams out there if you do hit that like button. So, if you could hit that for me before you go, much appreciated. Thank you for joining me for another stream just after the international break. There's the team. And I will see you in the next.